No Warner, no Bosa, no problem. Several 49ers rose up to the occasion to help the team get their sixth win of the season against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. We'll discuss everything that went down on today's 49K Pod.
You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Sunday, October 19th. We just finished watching a 49ers win against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. They won 20-10. And my goodness, I knew the 49ers could win, but I figured this game was going to be difficult. I didn't imagine a 10-point win. I came away super impressed with this team today and the effort that they put forth throughout this entire game. I mean, going into it, we knew it was going to be tough. You didn't have Fred Warner, your leader of this defense. We saw when he exited last week just how important he is and how it just felt like the nucleus of that defense being out, led to miscommunication issues, maybe some coverage busts last week against the Bucs. Tatum Bethune, however, looked incredible out there today. I mean, man, he looked ready for the challenge. And I must say, I think the biggest challenge for the 49ers today, besides the obvious one, having to adjust playing without Fred Warner, I feel the biggest challenge was going to be stopping Bijan Robinson. And from the very start of this game, we saw the 49ers pretty much bottle up Bijan Robinson and limit him to just 40 rushing yards. And so the Falcons, at a certain point, had to just go away from the run, which is not their MO at all to do that. But because the 49ers and this defense was having so much success, and it was truly a group effort in stopping Bijan Robinson pretty early in this game. You see, every time he got the ball, guys were swarming to it. If the first guy didn't get to Bijan, the second guy was right there to clean it up in most cases. So I'm very impressed with the 49ers defense throughout. I mean, there's a number of performances that I can point out, and I'll talk about them, that really stood out to me. But man, I just have to say, it looked like a true group effort on defense. And I'm really, really proud with this team right now. I got to imagine Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh feeling the exact same way. So let's just go through everything what happened in this game, the big things. So obviously you have George Kittle back. Nick Martin, linebacker, was going to be active in this game. Again, Tatum Bethune taking over as that Mike linebacker, his first start of the season. A couple notable inactives for the 49ers as well. Nickel corner Upton Stout, the rookie, inactive for this game due to an injury that he suffered late in the week in preparation for this game. And so Chase Lucas was your nickel corner today. And Chase Lucas had a hell of a day for the 49ers. I mean, almost so much of a good day for Chase Lucas that I don't know. I think you might keep him at that spot, just because he just looked to be in total command, very confident player. He had a pass that he broke up. He had a couple of involvements in blitzes. That's kind of his bread and butter. He's great at that. So Chase Lucas, have yourself a day. Jordan Watkins was inactive for this game, which he had no injury designation going into it. He's clear of this calf injury. So he was kind of a surprise inactive, but the 49ers decided to instead make Malik Turner active in this game. And Malik Turner had several special team coverage tackles today. He was all over it. So many great plays on special teams from Malik Turner. I don't think you could, fault the 49ers for deciding to make Malik Turner active over Jordan Watkins just based on his performance alone. on special teams. You saw the value that he brought in that area. Now, let's get to what happened in this game now. So it started off kind of slow for both teams. I mean, I'd say like it was a defensive game for the most part. The Falcons get on the board first with a field goal. In that first quarter, they had that drive that took up almost the entire first quarter. It was 19 plays, 10 minutes and 40 seconds long. I mean, that was a grinder right there. But right out of the get-go, for the 49ers to survive a 19-play drive, this defense being out there that long, and Tatum Bethune exited at some point in that drive as well. He did end up coming back, but we got some snaps from Curtis Robinson during that drive as well. But for the defense to survive and to ultimately keep them to a field goal off of such a long drive, I'd say is a really big success. This 49ers defense continues to be bend don't break with Robert Saleh, and with all of the young players that they have on defense, it makes it even more impressive what they're doing. And when you consider the guys that they're missing, it's all heart out there. It's all fight for this 49ers defense and these young guys. You love to see it. So the first quarter was kind of quiet, but like I said, the Falcons got off to the early lead of 3-0. Tatum Bethune comes back into the game. Renardo Green gets injured, and so Renardo Green with a toe injury, we'll have to keep tabs on that one and see what happened there. Hopefully not a turf toe situation for Renardo Green, but Darrell Luter Jr. came in for Renardo Green, finished the game at outside corner, and I must say Darrell Luter looked pretty good out there as well. And keep in mind, he probably was on Darnell Mooney for most of the game, but there were some snaps and some coverage that he had on Drake London as well. And so pretty impressive from Darrell Luter. I'm just trying to see if there's any stats from him. So 5 total tackles, not credited with any passes defended, but we did see some sticky coverage from him out there. So, credit to Darrell Luter for filling in for Renardo Green and, looking pretty good out there for this 49ers secondary. Now, another big injury came from the Falcons side. And I have no doubt this helped the 49ers in a big way. Their star linebacker, Divine Diablo, exited this game and would not return. That happened in the second quarter and pretty early in the second quarter. And the 49ers were already having a lot of success running the football in this game. One thing that if you guys watched or listened to my preview show on Friday, wouldn't have been too surprised about. We obviously talked about the return of George Kittle and what that would mean for the 49ers run blocking, but also coming into this game, the Atlanta Falcons defense was giving up 4.8 yards per carry. And so I figured if the 49ers run game was ever going to get going, it's going to be in this game when you have George Kittle coming back and the Falcons have been susceptible to giving up, some chunk yardage in the run game. And then also, of course, like I said, Falcons losing Divine Diablo so early in this game just helped the 49ers get going that much more. And ultimately, the 49ers run game would end up averaging, let's see here, 4.5 yards per carry. So not too shabby. Christian McCaffrey ended up with over 100 yards, 129 rushing yards on 24 carries. He averaged 5.4 yards per carry. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns. So just a healthy day on the stat sheet for Christian McCaffrey. He also added 72 passing yards. Once again, the 49ers leading receiver. So he continues to be impressive in that area as well. Sidebar, George Kittle held without a catch. He was targeted once, but man, I think George Kittle did say he was going to be out of shape in this game, but it didn't help that didn't hurt him in run blocking at least. So, I think it did. George Kittle being out there helped open things up for other guys, probably. most notably Christian McCaffrey. We did actually see that on one play where Mac Jones kind of led Caden Ellis towards the middle of the field before throwing the pass to Christian McCaffrey that would get them in the red zone and ultimately get them that score in the fourth quarter. But let me not get too ahead of myself here. We're talking about the second quarter here where Divine Diablo went to the locker room. And this is where Mac Jones threw the interception, although I wouldn't say he threw the interception. I would say Juwan Jennings bobbled it and it got intercepted. That should have been a catch from Juwan Jennings, but Caden Ellis got the interception there. Just not a great way to start the game. But fortunately, the 49ers defense would force Atlanta to punt at that point. And that was aided by a 3rd and 7 Robert Saleh blitz call. And I have to say, all day, Robert Saleh was dialing up the blitz at the perfect time. Like, I have to give so much credit to Saleh for what he did in this game, how he rallied his troops, all these young players. Like, I cannot say it enough. It's just so impressive what we saw today. And, after losing your star defensive player, getting back in there and just saying, you know what, we got this. We're going to do it for Fred. Tatum Bethune, shout out Tatum Bethune, who came in rocking the number 48 Fred Warner rookie jersey. That's a hell of a look right there. But yeah, Robert Saleh was clutch today. A lot of players on defense were pretty clutch today. Most definitely helped this team win, especially, holding the Falcons to just 10 points, holding Bijan Robinson to just 40 yards rushing. Just incredible stuff. Incredible. And so after, the Falcons are forced to punt, then the 49ers get their first score of the game that would put them up ahead 7-3 early in that game. So that was with a 13 play drive, 80 yards, took over a little over 6 minutes. And at that point in the game, the 49ers were averaging 7 yards per carry, and they already had 100 yards rushing, like, into the second quarter, which is incredible. Like, what this team that has struggled to run the football so much, had themselves a day, and hopefully it's not just a fluke and it carries over into next week's as well. But in that same drive where the 49ers scored that touchdown, and it was McCaffrey who punched it in for the rushing touchdown, Jake Brendel went down. This was in the second quarter, hamstring injury for Brendel, and he was almost immediately ruled out, which generally is not a good sign as far as, that player's availability for the coming weeks. Usually when you're ruled out that long, you're probably going to be out for some time, but we'll wait to see what Kyle Shanahan says about Jake Brendel. Kyle Shanahan speaking with the media now. Have not seen any notable tweets coming through quite yet, but I'm monitoring the situation here as I speak. So I'll let you guys know if there's anything notable on the injury front that we hear as I'm live. But Jake Brendel did not return, and so Matt Hennessy takes over. The former Falcon, Matt Hennessy, takes over at center, and almost immediately, like, he looked pretty good out there. I think for a lot of 49er fans who have not been too fond of Jake Brendel to this point, ever since last season, and it hasn't helped himself out this year as well. I think a lot of people were welcoming a change already at center. Not to say that we're happy that Jake Brendel went down, but we are happy that Matt Hennessy looked good. And I mean, if Jake Brendel does miss significant amount of time, Matt Hennessy looked like a guy who can handle that center spot. Now, keep in mind too, I think it's beneficial in a way that Mac Jones was the quarterback for this game, because Mac Jones probably has more experience working with Matt Hennessy than Brock Purdy would have had anyway. So that's something that like kind of crossed my mind as I was watching that game. And I was like, usually when you see a backup center go into a game, you get like at least one snafu with the snap, like either like a bad snap, bad timing, it's just something, right? And in this game, Matt Hennessy, Mac Jones were on the same page. You didn't see any like bad snaps or anything like that. So I think that's a positive that Hennessy is already sort of used to working with Mac Jones. And he's probably used to working alongside Connor Colby as well, who continues to be at that left guard spot. Interesting enough, we saw Nick Zakelj at left guard, but only for like a few snaps. So I don't know if Connor Colby was getting looked at on the sideline for a bit. Not sure, but Connor Colby went back in and he ended up finishing the game. So Connor Colby's fine. But yeah, Matt Hennessy looks like he might be the center for some time. We'll wait to see what happened with Jake Brendel, but hamstring injury, and he did not return. So the 49ers, like I said, go up 7-3, and then Atlanta's following drive, defense once again showing up. Bryce Huff with one of the fastest sacks you will ever see, his fourth sack of the season, and also forced the fumble on that sack. 49ers get the ball back, and this is with about a minute and a half to go in the first half. The 49ers get on the board again with a field goal, 55-yarder from Eddie Pinheiro, who once again had another solid day. No misses for Freddie, and 49ers went up 10-3 before the half. And again, it was, if you guys remember Atlanta's last possession before halftime, they had the ball with not too much time left, but they had a chance to probably get a field goal, do something with that. However, Bryce Huff, once again on a pressure in front of Penix, forced the intentional grounding. Penix kind of just was trying to salvage the play, but ultimately that ended up running out the clock. So good play on Huff once again. He was on one today. He was having a lot of success today. I think the defensive line looked pretty good most of today, where I would say the 49ers defensive line looked like they got more pressure than they had in like the last few weeks, which is most definitely what they needed to do. Having Kevin Givens back was, I think, huge for this defensive line as well. You saw him getting some nice push here and there on some of these dropbacks from Penix. So Mykel Williams even pushing his guy towards Penix. So it was just, like I said, a group effort. But I liked what I saw from the defensive line. I liked what I saw from the secondary. Yeah, all levels was a really good performance. So the 49ers go to halftime 10-3, and you're still thinking, you know what? I'm not comfortable with this lead. It's still 10-3, right? Surely the Falcons are going to have some adjustments in the third quarter. Well, the good news is the 49ers did get the ball after the half. So the 49ers get a field goal after converting several third downs on that drive. Credit to Mac Jones. He found Bourne on a 3rd and 9. Then on a 3rd and 4, they get a run through the middle with McCaffrey. And then on a 3rd and 11, Mac Jones to Juwan Jennings. Except that one was caught out of bounds. So that one they did not convert. And that's what forced them to get a field goal on that drive coming out of the half. So the field goal then made it 13-3 for the 49ers. So now it's a little bit of a more comfortable lead. But the 49ers defense has to continue to hold the Falcons. Well, on the following drive, Falcons would end up scoring a touchdown. They get Tyler Algier involved on a 3rd and short. And actually, it was Jamal Agnew who got a really nice return. And that was probably their best return of the day. Malik Turner. I think Malik Turner ended up getting that tackle, actually. But unfortunately, it was after a 40-yard return from Jamal Agnew. So Atlanta got the ball on San Francisco's 48, and that ultimately helped the Falcons get into favorable range. Bijan Robinson got the touchdown. So if you have Bijan in fantasy, his 40-yard rushing day didn't hurt you too much because he did score. But yeah, that's just Bijan Robinson for you. He's going to get his in some way, shape, or form. But I think the 49ers are okay with allowing him to score if they can keep him to 40 yards rushing. And, the Falcons got on the board again, 13-10, but 49ers still leading. They trade off some punts at that point. And then the fourth quarter is when things really got interesting and good for the 49ers, except to start the fourth quarter, the 49ers had that drive where, again, the 49ers are up by just 3 points. So you're like, okay, like it'd be nice if the 49ers could try to get something going and, because some drives had stalled, and it'd be nice if they could start to, go up by a little bit more and try to start putting this game away. Well, on 3rd and 4, Mac Jones throws a pass downfield, and yeah, maybe it was a little short, and Demarcus Robinson had to kind of come back for it. But that pass should have 100% been caught by Demarcus Robinson. Like, you can't even say it was a good play by the defender. That was just a straight, flat-out drop from Demarcus Robinson right through his hands on 3rd and 4. 49ers have to punt it. So you're like, well, shoot. Like, you're giving the Falcons another chance here. Again, you're only up 3 points. But here's where it gets interesting. So the 49ers defense tightens up from this point on, and they really would not let go of I don't know, just the hold that they had on Penix, on the Falcons offense. 3rd and 1, San Francisco defense swarms Bijan on 4th and 1. After that, pass to Drake London, nearly picked off by Chase Lucas. Chase Lucas, again, great game from him. And Drake London is a tough cover. I mean, London had like over 100 yards in the first half last week against the Bills, right? So you knew this was going to be a really tough challenge, especially with, Falcons being down most of this game. Like, you figured they'd want to get Drake London involved and move the ball through him. But Chase Lucas did himself, some favors and had a really strong game. So we'll see what that means for Chase Lucas going forward. If maybe he's earned himself some more playing time, we'll see. But that was huge because on the following drive for the 49ers, that allowed them to, and it put them in pretty good field position, right? Just the fact that it was a turnover on downs. Again, 4th and 1. Risky decision to go for the pass there rather than, just try to run or sneak it in. But Robert Saleh, this defense prevailed. So 49ers get the ball back, and that's where, Mac Jones and Christian McCaffrey help do the rest. So on 3rd and 13, Mac Jones throws it to McCaffrey for the first down. That was a clutch throw from Mac because they were bringing in some pressure. But that's the pass in which Mac Jones was trying to get Ellis, the linebacker, to like float towards the middle of the field. And that's kind of where George Kittle was. And as soon as he gets Ellis to move, he throws the ball to CMC. And I mean, just good stuff from him. So 49ers then get into the red zone. They're like within 5 yards or something like that. And that's where Christian McCaffrey gets his second rushing touchdown of the day. And it almost felt like it wasn't even Christian that scored. That was a score by the 49ers offensive line because you have Dominic Pooney, or was it was like Pooney and Colby like pulling him towards the end zone. And then you got Matt Hennessy pushing him towards the end zone. Ultimately, the broadcast did say that like an offensive lineman is not supposed to carry a running back or any player into the end zone. But I mean, they reviewed the play, at the stadium and everything like that. They didn't call it back. Every score is reviewed. It ended up standing. So it was a touchdown and just a lot of bodies involved in that play, but hardly any of it was really Christian McCaffrey. It's kind of funny, but yeah, hopefully McCaffrey, buys those guys a nice steak dinner or something this week, because yeah, that was all offensive line, and you love to see that effort from this offensive line, especially with the way that they've struggled with run blocking as of late. They did not give up on that play. And that touchdown ultimately helped seal the win for the 49ers. The Falcons in desperation mode, trying to get something going with their final drive, ultimately turned the ball over on downs. And this is where also got to give some credit to Robert Saleh, dialed up the pressure like hell on that final Falcons drive there. On the first play, or one of the first plays, Bryce Huff and Alfred Collins have a meeting at the quarterback. Penix was hit as he throws. Chase Lucas did get the ball because, heads up play, you always, just got to recover it just in case it's a fumble, just in case they call it a fumble. And funny enough, the refs did call it a fumble at first, but then they reviewed it and they did say that Penix did have possession of the football and he had the forward motion, so they ended up calling it an incomplete pass instead. They reversed that. But, the 49ers could have also ended it right there, again, with this defense. Again, heads up play, Chase Lucas. Again, a really good play from Bryce Huff, right? And then on one of the following plays, Tatum Bethune, who's just having a day. Like, he looks like this game meant a lot to him. And obviously, this was his chance to really make a mark, make a statement for himself. And man, he absolutely blew up Bijan Robinson and to get to Michael Penix, which would have been a sack, but Deommodore Lenoir was called for illegal contact. Lenoir's been called for a number of things in the last few weeks, I feel like. And some of them have been very ticky-tacky. Lenoir was called for a DPI earlier in the game, and it was just he was getting handsy, but that was just let him play, man. That was kind of bizarre. I don't know if they're making it a point to get calls on Lenoir, but it's just weird. He's getting called for anything, it feels like. So it was too bad that one got called back because of the penalty, but Bethune's effort on that one was really, really impressive. Really impressive. And so again, the 49ers defense forces the turnover on downs. And I was expecting the Falcons defense to at least get something towards the end there. Because usually when you get these teams, these offenses in desperation mode, they just find a way, right, to get something going. But who found a way today was Robert Saleh and this 49ers defense. They found a way. I just can't stop saying how impressed I am with the performance today from this team. This is not at all the way that I was expecting it to go. Not that I didn't think it was possible. I just thought it would be difficult just without Fred Warner, and I did feel like Tatum Bethune, he might have that dog in him. Everyone just speaks glowingly about him, Fred Warner included. But yeah, I was like, Bijan coming to town. We saw what he did last week against the Bills, man. He's going to get his. And wow. I said it in my preview show. I was like, if you're going to beat the Falcons, you have to stop Bijan Robinson first and foremost. And from the get-go, that was the 49ers plan, and they executed. They executed, even shorthanded. This defense, Robert Saleh, they're for real. They're for real. And you could scoff and say, well, it's just the Falcons, but come on, man. This Falcons team looked really good against the Bills. I guess that's the nature of the NFL, right? Any given week, anything could happen. But I truly believe in this team and what they're putting together, that it's not just a fluke. You compare what we're seeing from this team in comparison to last year, it's a complete 180. And, I said it when I was on KTVU, talking about this defense and just, how they move forward without Fred Warner. I might have mentioned it on one of my shows too. And I was like, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I feel better about this 49ers defense without Warner and without Bosa even than I do than I felt about this defense, last season. Like I feel better about this defense. And you know why? It's because one, they have Robert Saleh. And that means a lot because it just looks like they're playing for somebody. Like I don't playing for themselves. Like these guys are playing with pride and they're playing with a lot of fight, right? So yeah, that's something we never saw from the 49ers defense last year ever. Like so even without Warner, even without Bosa, I'm seeing a team that is capable of rising to the occasion. And that's a really good sign because look, I expected the 49ers offense to have to carry the load and carry the burden. And, they put up points. Like the 49ers scored 20 points. That was enough to win, right? But it wasn't all offense. And frankly, I think it was the 49ers defense that helped put the offense in favorable positions to begin with. So this felt like a balanced team win, complementary football. And that is huge. Like man, again, I can't even, I just can't, I can't say it enough, just how impressive it is to do it without the guys that they don't have right now. And yes, getting George Kittle this week was huge. It was huge for the run game. It was huge, like I said, for opening things up for other guys. But it's not like the pass game was anything crazy. So they won, at least on offense, they won in an entirely different way than they had in every other win this season, which again is a good sign because it means they could win in other ways. Let me get through a couple of stat lines here. So modest today from Mac Jones. Just he only threw it 26 times, 152 yards, no touchdowns. He had an interception as well, which, we're not going to fault him for that one just because it was mostly a drop from Juwan Jennings. Didn't see anything. I'm brushing through Twitter again. I didn't see anything about any injury news from Kyle Shanahan. So maybe more than likely probably did a we'll know more tomorrow kind of thing, or we'll evaluate those guys. But on Matt Jones, I wanted to mention this. I saw Vic Taffer of The Athletic post this. He said Mac Jones was playing for a $400,000 contract incentive if he gets his fourth win as a starter this season. And he got it, even with the modest day. Mac Jones is going to get credit for this win, and he's going to get a $400K incentive because of it. Well-deserved. Again, I know this game wasn't like some world beater game for Mac Jones, and neither was last week, frankly, but I still like what he's doing out there, and I have a lot of appreciation for Mac Jones for what he's doing for this team right now while Brock Purdy gets to 100%. So, yeah, credit to him. I already talked about Christian McCaffrey having himself quite the day on the ground. He looked like himself again, right? Like, it's crazy how, having open holes helps Christian McCaffrey, get 129 yards rushing, right? Crazy how that happens. He looked like he had some bursts today because he actually had lanes to run through. Brian Robinson had a couple runs too. He had 9 for 36 yards. Let's see. So yeah, we already talked about 72 receiving yards for Christian McCaffrey on 8 targets. Juwan Jennings had a couple of conversions, third down conversions, 4 catches in total for 31 yards. Kendrick Bourne, quiet day for Kendrick Bourne, only 14 yards today for him after consecutive games going over 100 yards. Sky Moore even had a catch today, 1 for 15 yards. That one was pretty nice, showed off a little bit of speed there. Again, nada for George Kittle. Nothing for Demarcus Robinson, although he should have had that one deep downfield. Alfred Collins recovered the fumble, the one we were talking about that Bryce Huff helped force. Tatum Bethune, 10 tackles today, 1 tackle for loss. Let's see, D. Winters had just 3 tackles, but 1 tackle for loss as well. That one was a big one, if I recall. Bryce Huff, 5 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits. This was a really, really strong performance from Bryce Huff, and one that I hope we continue to see as well. Sam O had a good day. He had a sack as well. He had a quarterback hit, also had a tackle for loss. So good day from him. And yeah, man, just a group effort all around for this team. Eddie Pinheiro, 2 for 2 today. Also 2 for 2 on extra points. So what a performance. What a performance from this team. Couldn't be happier. 49ers now 5-2. And next up, next week you got the Texans. The Texans are going to be on a short week next week because their game is tomorrow. They're playing the Seahawks. Speaking of Seahawks, let's talk about what happened around the NFC West. So the Rams curb stomped the Jags in London. Weird how that works, right? Just another example of anything happens in the NFL. Felt good about, the Jags. I felt good. The Jags beat the Chiefs, right? They beat the Chiefs, they almost beat the Chiefs. But I was like, I feel a little bit better about losing to the Jags because they looked like a legit team. And then here come the Rams to, curb stomp them, like completely blew them out in London. So maybe the Jags loss doesn't look so great today, but the Rams win, or the 49ers win over the Rams, looks good. So just how the NFL works, parity as always. So the Rams won. They improved 5-2. The Cardinals lost to the Packers, though. I mean, the Cardinals are lost. We're not worried about the Cardinals. Seattle, who can also improve to 5-2, play tomorrow on Monday Night Football, like I said, to play the Texans. So we'll have our eyes on that one. But obviously the 49ers did themselves a big favor by getting this win today. And yeah, they're here to stay. The 49ers are here to stay, which, throughout the week, we're going to get back to that same question. Should the 49ers make a move for a pass rusher? And I say yes. I still think this is a team that, you could invest something in, which is funny because last week I was like, don't bother after they lost Fred. But we were all doom and gloom after Fred went down. But after what I saw today, I'm like, you know what? They're going to be okay. Like they're going to be okay, which is crazy to say. But that just means these young players are doing a damn good job. Everything Kyle Shanahan kind of said leading up to this week. And, Kyle Shanahan sounded very bummed about the Fred Warner injury as well, as we all did, right? But, Kyle talked about in a interview he did with NBC Sports Athletic, he talked about, watching the game over and a second time, the first time he was very sad about Fred, but the second time he just kind of wanted to look through and see what stood out to him. And what stood out was that, this 49ers defense and these young players did a hell of a job, just fighting through that game last week against the Bucs. And there was a lot of good to take from it. And, just kind of conveying that message to this 49ers defense, letting them know that they did a good job and they're capable of doing this. So I feel like they took that message to heart, and I feel like they know they're good. They know they could fight. And I mean, we saw it play out today from start to finish for the 49ers defense. Again, really, really impressive stuff. This is a win I think we'll definitely remember because it's definitely impressive. I think it helps the Kyle Shanahan Coach of the Year case for sure. But yes. Oh, man. Shout out my brother who was at the game tonight. Shout out to everyone who was at the game. I'm sure it was electric. First primetime game of the season. Brother says he's 3-0 watching the 49ers this year at these games. Just try to get him to all of them. All right, well, I had a lot of fun talking about this win. Feel great about it. Feel great about this team. Really proud. But yeah, guys, that's enough for my instant reaction. Make sure you guys like this video if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. I'll be back tomorrow with Weston, and we'll be crowning a 49K Player of the Week. You don't want to miss that because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of nominees and a lot of worthy nominees. So definitely want to get you guys in that to help us vote for tomorrow's show. And audio listeners, make sure you leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, folks, have a good rest of your Sunday night. I know I will. Peace.